Hello YouTube, it is your boy GZTV back with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about Season 4, Episode 5 of Ozark, Ellie. We're talking about a big fish in a small pond. I do it pretty much in one big blob. Review, plot, whatever, there's a lot of spoilers, so stay tuned. Let's get into it. Sorry, don't pay my bills. What I need is loyalty, is the famous quote from Darlene Snell from this episode. There's something in that line that speaks to the constant push and pull of the world of Ozark, wherein human connection and practical need don't always align. So many of the fraught relationships on this show are both personal and professional. It's a program about people supported by and betrayed by those closest to them, often even by branches on their own family tree. And this very strong fourth and final season has centered on these complex dynamics, which may have an emotional currency that people feel they need but don't pay the bills. A great prologue fills in an essential detail about Mel Saddam, the PI who has been searching for Helen Pierce. It's really interesting to finally get to know a little bit about this guy. So in a flashback, it's revealed that he was a cop on edge when he's on the phone with someone trying to get him to attend a meeting for his addictions. Like the Narcotics Anonymous type shit. Like he's supposed to be going to rehab, going to meetings, trying to get this addiction to go away. He just can't do it, and it ends up costing him his job. Long story short, he's suicidal. He slinks his way to the evidence locker at the station where he works and gets caught with the white stuff in his nostrils. Later, it's revealed that he was a hell of a good cop, even if his addiction derailed his career. That could be a problem for the birds, because now he's a PI. You don't really need to have a good reputation to be a PI, and that works out in his case, because obviously he has a big-ass controversy surrounding his career, so now he's able to kind of revitalize it by being a PI and snooping around. The plan to keep the Shaw deal in place, even though the Navarro supply halted, led Marty to turn to Ruth last episode, and that's where this chapter kind of picks up. We learn that the Snell plan, which Darlene clearly hasn't approved, only needs to last a week. Claire and her bruiser meet with Ruth, and he tests the product. He confirms it's good. Maybe this will actually work for once. Maybe they can actually get a deal done for once. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see. Frank Cosgrove Jr., who's kind of coming back into the show. He is played by Joseph Socorro, who's been in countless other shows, by the way. Is back in the mix, startled to see Darlene as he limps out of a dive called the Northside Tavern in KC. It is really interesting to see kind of the Cosgroves get back involved in this, and I feel like honestly, this entire season, they should have been major players. I guess they just weren't, simply put. So in the last episode, she sensed that he didn't like his daddy pulling out of the deal with her, so she's going straight to Junior. Add this relationship to the many of the season in which business and personal needs may not align. Think of Jonah and his parents, Omar and his nephew, Ruth and Wyatt. The theme for the season could be how much crime and family don't mix, and that's really interesting, and they keep up the consistency there, and I really like it. So, anyway, Darlene has the nerve to try to work a deal with the man she crippled last season, which is really an interesting tactic, really interesting approach, but it's Darlene Snell. She's extremely unorthodox, loose cannon, you never know what she's going to try to pull off. She gives him some drugs and plays up to his alpha male needs. She knows how to woo macho idiots better than anyone. She had a husband that pretty much was one for a big majority of her life. So, yeah. Wendy and Marty spot some missing posters for Ben in town. They didn't put those up. Someone had to do it, knowing she's lying. The great lies that Wendy keeps telling about his appearance have turned up the heat on finding him. It's almost too dumb a move for someone like Wendy, but Laura Linney has sold a kind of passionate irrationality this season, heightened by the disintegrating relationship with her son. Wendy has made some pretty awful decisions this season. At first they assumed Jonah put up the posters, but he points the finger at Darlene, which later on in the episode Darlene is not going to appreciate whatsoever. Wendy suggests maybe it's not that bad, perhaps it will make them look more sympathetic. Maybe it'll be better for their image. And then Charlotte reveals she left in the middle of the SATs and isn't planning to go to college. They have this criminal empire. They have these enterprises. She kind of just wants to work for the family company and make bread. But Obviously, there needs to be a backup plan, so college probably wouldn't have been a bad idea for her. Um, yeah. Marty is aghast that the empire he's been trying to dissemble and leave behind is now basically his daughter's plan for the future, so now he kind of has to run with it. However, Marty does see an urgent need for his daughter and asks her to speak to Wyatt about taking down the bin posters. Her future can wait. We have other urgent issues. So as Wendy and Marty are plan meetings with Senator Schaefer and Ruth respectively, Mel comes to their door again. He just does not stop. He lays it on the table. He thinks Ben killed Helen, so now the birds are protecting him. Now that they keep pushing him away and pushing him away, now he wants to reveal what he thinks is the truth. It's not even close to the truth. It's not an unrealistic truth because Ben could have easily killed Helen when he snapped on her that one time. You know, it makes sense that this would be his theory given the dual disappearance. One wonders if this won't plant a seed in Marty and Wendy's minds. What if they find evidence of Helen's murder somehow? Could it be pinned on the missing Ben? Heck, any murder could be pinned on the absent Ben at this point. Is Mel giving Wendy and Marty an idea for a future scheme? And how would Jonah respond if the uncle his mother killed is now framed? That didn't even make sense. Sorry, my notes are kind of jumbled. But Wendy and Jim meet with the senator, who reveals he needs some help, and he's kind of trying to test their loyalty here. He has a family situation as loved ones may have been caught up on a wire fraud net. He claims it's mostly some harmless, light insider trading, and he just needs to know if his son is a target of the investigation so he can get out in front of it and, take all the precautions he needs. It's another deal with a personal touch, the foundation of this show, but this one turns out to be much more sinister. After getting what he needs from Wendy via Maya, everyone learns that it involves voting machines that can be tampered with, and someone was about to blow the whistle. The ramifications of the actions of the birds in the Ozarks could now influence world elections. This is not just like a locality type of deal. No, this could affect the entire fucking world now. These people are becoming more and more important as the seasons go on. The idea that the political and illegal worlds are intertwined has been a theme of this show for years, but this is one of its darkest beats. Laundering a drug lord includes a scheme that could illegally determine the next president. Whoa, somebody called the My Pillow guy there, because Jesus criminy. We still have a lot to go, wow. On a much lower level in terms of international crime, Ruth comes looking for the brick that Darlene has sold to Frank Jr. It turns out that's the one that needed to go to Claire Shaw. She shows up at the meeting with Shaw and Marty empty-handed. Someone took their heroin. They will need to repurchase it for double the cost, and Ruth gets $100,000 on top for her trouble. So even though Wyatt does speak to Charlotte at the farmer's market, the missing posters for Ben seem to have grown more prevalent the next time Wendy drives through town. She makes another crazy decision and files a missing person report for the man she helped murder. She even produces crocodile tears when asked why she didn't do it earlier, and then she thanks Darlene for helping with the search. This leads Darlene to admonish Jonah for snitching on her with the posters, prompting Jonah to tell Darlene that his parents disposed of Nick's body. The kid can't lie. It's kind of impressive. He's telling each side things, and it's gonna probably cause some problems here soon. While Mel is sniffing around the Lazy O looking for information, the deal is about to go down to retrieve Ruth's drugs so they can go to Claire. The buyer-turned-seller gets spooked, but Ruth isn't giving up, demanding the address. After arguing over who is going into this lion's den, Ruth takes the job herself. Marty is too weak, and Claire's muscle is too trigger-happy. He's just going to want to kill someone if they press him at all. On the phone, it appears Claire will give Ruth 5 minutes before her Terminator goes in, guns blazing, which could possibly kill Ruth. The scene at the house is one of the tensest of the season. Ruth gets abused mentally and a bit physically, with the buyer convinced that this is some sort of trap, and it's a great scene for Garner, a reminder of how present she can be on the show. The writing on Ozark often stretches credulity, but it's Garner who grounds it by always believably responding to what's happening around her. And it produces a moment of heroism for Marty. When it looks like Shaw's dude bro is ready to get Ruth killed, Marty grabs his gun. It doesn't last long, but it shows that Marty is willing to put his life in danger for Ruth. That feels important. As Ruth shows up with the goods, things go well, and there you go. So that at least that goes well. Later that night, Mel finally makes it to Ruth's trailer and learns that Ben didn't have a drug problem. His case just got more interesting because now Wendy is lying. While that problem is getting worse, it almost looks like one of Wendy's problems will solve itself in the episode's incredible final scene. Darlene comes to the birdhouse in the middle of the night wanting to talk about Nick's. Wendy reveals the Ruth Shaw deal details and gets even more aggressive in Darlene's face until Snell has what looks like a heart attack, which is kind of insane that Wendy did that to her. As she tumbles to the ground, struggling to breathe, she asks Wendy to call 911. Wendy takes out her phone and pauses. I mean, I would too. Like, would I really call 911 for this crazy ass woman? She sits and watches, thinking about what to do. Over the credits, we hear 911, what's your emergency? Did she wait for her to die, or did she call in time? It's the kind of thing that would make for a great cliffhanger on a weekly series. But this is Netflix, so we're getting straight into the next episode, and obviously, I'm watching this way after this show came out. So yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm out. This is kind of insane. If Wendy waited for Darlene to die, how insane would that be? I don't know. I don't really have much time for an outro. I gotta get this video posted. Plus, I'm starting on my NFL videos. So yeah, have a good rest of your day, guys. I'm out.